Hello, my name is Scott Midgley, Chief Information Officer at Wellforce, your hybrid working experts. Welcome to our new video series called The Ultimate Guide to the Future of Work. While this concept of the future of work seems like it's been around forever, it's been in the last decade or so where we've seen exponential leaps in what technology can do and what it means for businesses moving forward. Mainstream adoption of cloud and hybrid technologies, advances in AI and machine learning, coupled with lower costs of entry, and in the last few years, a global pandemic, those have dramatically altered how and where we do business. As a result, many organizations have continued to adapt, or have been forced to adapt, rather, by decentralizing their operations to match today's shifting markets. As a part of that transformation, decision makers need to understand ways to increase productivity and efficiency, track employee sentiment and performance, and set solid business goals. Key to that is effectively understanding what tools and methods are available to you to facilitate this. With that in mind, I'd like to introduce you to OKRs. Specifically, what are they and why are they important? So what we have here is sort of a formal definition of what OKRs are. They stand for objectives and key results, goal setting methodology, blah, 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 blah. You can read that if you'd like. However, I think a slightly less scientific way to understand this might be in order. Really, OKRs help you to understand what you're working on and why, and also helps people to understand what they are not working on and why. They help to improve collaboration so others in the company can know what someone else's OKRs are and how they actually align with theirs as well as everyone else's. They provide insight into how groups are measuring progress towards goals, and they create accountability. They can be set at the personal, team, or company level, and they should be set quarterly. What we see here is a pretty impressive list of companies on here. And really, many of the most successful and recognizable brands in the world utilize OKRs, and they do so to continually improve team focus, alignment, engagement, and growth. Right here. This is a big one. We hear this a lot when we're consulting with people. Those are big companies. We're a smaller company. What do these have to do with us? And if you don't have an understanding of OKRs, it's a very valid question. I think it's in order if we take a quick step back in time to understand where OKRs are coming from. In 1999, John Doerr arrived at Google, and while they were still just a small startup with fewer than 40 team members, he arrived and tried to bring order to the company. In his book, Measure What Matters, he laid out the management frameworks that he developed as a planning model for Google. As we know now, Google has over 100,000 people globally. Companies like Airbnb and Spotify, when they were also in the startup phase, used OKRs super early on as a means of focusing efforts to accelerate growth company-wide, and it also helped people with buy-in and to align and connect the employees to bigger goals. I think that sounds great and all. How do we get started? How do we know if we're doing it correctly? Never fear. It's a lot simpler than you think. Let's go take a look at the components of an OKR to see what we're talking about. There you go. Very simple. The design couldn't be simpler. Basically, it's objective and key results. What and how. As you can see here, establishing an objective expresses our what. It's a goal you want to achieve. It's significant and action-oriented. So, for example, your company decides they want to increase brand awareness, or double monthly revenue, or create the lowest carbon footprint in your industry. All great goals. Then you have your key results, which represent the how. How are we going to achieve this objective? Those are specific, time-bound, and measurable. For example, we're going to drive 100,000 web visitors, or we're going to sign 6 new recurring revenue clients in the next quarter, or we'll increase the amount of material packaging that's compostable by 25%, and so on. As previously mentioned, OKRs can be used for individuals, teams, or company-wide. Let's go take a look at an example of a company OKR and see what we mean. Here we see our company, Smith Packaging, has created their objective of being are creating the lowest carbon footprint in their industry. And then they have listed out their key results. So their objective tells them what we want to achieve, and then the key results tell them how they're going to. The idea is to create an objective that is somewhat aspirational while still being attainable. So you don't want to necessarily, as an objective, create like a moonshot and say, we're going to be the most valuable company in the world in 12 months. I mean, you can't reasonably, how do you even set results for that? So again, you want it to be somewhat aspirational, which this one is, lowest carbon footprint in the industry. And then they have results, if they can reduce the waste down in their supply chains and, increase compostable and biodegradable materials in there, they can achieve this. But let's go take a look at a team-specific one for the same company. Again, we're at Smith Packaging, and the marketing team has set an objective to increase their brand awareness. Well, how are they going to do that? Again, they have their what. They want to increase brand awareness, and they've come up with the key results here, where they're going to be driving more web visitors, increase their social media following, and hopefully recruit and onboard more community members. These working together, the hows, create the what, increase brand awareness. I think it's important to remember that because we sometimes get asked this too, what are the key things that we have to remember? Like what should we take away from studying and understanding OKRs? And I think it's very important to remember that OKRs help you to align and connect your employees to bigger goals. Obviously they're going to help increase productivity because you're focusing on those goals. You're able to track progress both at the individual team and the company level. And through the measurement, accountability, and transparency, everyone understands where they are, where they need to go, and how they're doing. And overall, they provide a clarity of mission. I think it's always important, these two quotes that come from John Doerr, I think are pretty important because they actually help you to see that motivated employees, they can help unlock creativity and performance and success with a sense of purpose on there. Understanding that employees, their achievement and their success is integral to the actual success of the company. Sometimes we don't always see that, but it's vitally important. So if you're able to actually empower employees to achieve by setting goals, fostering collaboration and accountability, and rewarding success, they benefit, your company benefits. So I want to thank you for coming by and visiting with us today, and hopefully you learned a little bit of something. In part 2 of the series, we're going to walk through some of the top software tools that actually help to facilitate the process of setting and tracking the OKRs that we've just talked about. If you have any questions about this, visit us online at wellforceit.com. Again, thank you for stopping by.